The purpose of this video is to show how we created the Kosior family photo. You might think that we actually went to Paris and took this photo, but it was actually created from scratch using a number of different elements. We actually photographed the people, the family, in Amanda's office against a blank wall, and that's what it looked like. So after the initial shooting took place, we put all of the images into Lightroom, and we made an initial adjustment of cropping just to give us a little bit more room more focused room to work with, and then brought it into an application called the Perfect Photo Suite, which is an OnOne application. Used an effect called Tootsie Pop, which added a level of sharpness and tone enhancing, and then also increased the color tone. Even though we won't end up in color, we just wanted to see a little bit more color in the image. It'll give us some more to work with. Then we went to another application within OnOne called Perfect Mask, and this is where we eliminated the background or extracted them from the background. The first swipe is with a real rough tool, and then we use a brush to tune that up a little bit more. Then we used a refine tool around the edges of each head and face and body, even furniture and things like that, just to tune that up a little bit more. We also, let's take a look here and see how we did. All right, and so we're going to use the brush tool, and we're going to go inside or outside and inside the body and just kind of do some cleanup there. It doesn't have to be exacting in terms of this type of image. And then what we're going to do is select colors that we want to keep, flesh tones, clothing colors, just a whole bunch of different tones, as well as tones we don't want to keep, or what we want to eliminate. Then we use a tool called the magic brush, and go around all of the edges and just kind of clean it up. So this process is pretty extensive, took quite a while, and so I'm skipping through a lot of the different steps here. The total processing time on this image, by the way, from beginning to end was a little over an hour. You're going to see it here in under 7 minutes. So here we are. We're going to refine around the glass, the clear glass, by using the keep and drop colors and using the magic brush to go around the glass as well as Amanda's head. And we're just going to clean that up a little bit more, and that's what it looks like. That's what the masked image looks like. We're going to take that back into Lightroom, and you can see what we've pretty much eliminated all of that information. At this point, we're going to export that as a PSD or Photoshop file out to Photoshop, and we're going to take a look at it there. We're going to also get an image from my trip to Paris a couple of years ago, and we're going to use that for the background. So we're going to drag that into the image, bring the family to the front, then we're going to go through a process called transforming, where we use perspective warp, skew, as well as distort functions in order to move the background and the wall behind them in the proper manner and get it scaled properly. And this is a kind of a process that goes back and forth until you kind of get everything where you want it to be. So there's different ways to look at it, and we kind of get it where we want it to be, and there we have it. It's just about right now, so I think we're in pretty good shape here. So that's what it looks like. The next thing we're going to do is just refine the family's bodies a little bit by using pardon me, but this is the background. We're going to refine the background by blurring it so it looks more natural, as though it did appear behind them. Then we're going to crop it in. And so this is just about our final crop here. So that's what it looks like in color. And we're going to use the multiply function to just darken the edges of the body so they don't look like they stand out. So we're just going to go around the bodies and just darken those edges just a little bit. And we're also going to do the same thing as far as adding a blur to the edges of their body. So we're going to add the blur masking, and we're going to just use that blur brush and just kind of, again, just right around the edges, just so that they don't look too sharp and too distinct around the edge, so it looks more natural. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add half of a mustache Archie didn't want to have a mustache drawn on his face, so I took this picture of Kyle and I adjusted it so that it'll be approximately the same in the same tones. I drew around the mustache, dragged it into the image, and then it's a process of sizing it and scaling it and getting it down to about the right size. And once we're down there, you can see it's not quite the right tone, so we're going to use the masking brush, and we're just going to brush around to eliminate some of the flesh tone that's not the right shade. There we go, and once we have that, we're going to just use the transform tool one more time, and we're just going to just change the angle of that mustache so it looks a little bit more natural. And there we have it. So there's Archie's mustache. Now we're going to go into black and white, and using an application, again in OnOne, a black and white tool called Operatic, which gives me kind of the tone that I wanted to use here. And we're also going to use a couple of different vignettes, one called Big Softy, which is going to darken those edges so it looks a little bit more like a photograph, and another one called Dark Edges, which will just make it just a little bit darker around the edges. And we're going to bring it back out into Photoshop. And the final thing we're going to do here is we have those people who are distorted, who are on the edge, the lower edge of the image. They may not show too much, but I'm just going to extend the mullion of that window down a little further so it makes it more vague in terms of who they are, what exactly that information is right there. Do the same thing with the window information, so we're just going to draw around that, drag that into the frame, or into the bottom there, I should say. Use the masking tool, and here we have it. There's the final image. Hope you enjoyed this short video on how we created the Kosior family photo.